wanted anniversary in the history of Welsh culture and heritage, but an important reminder of when things do go terribly wrong. And tomorrow is the anniversary of the Aberfan disaster, and I'm really privileged to be joined on the show here this morning by Terri Harrison, director of Revlon Girls, and we'll get to the link in just a second, but also Gaynor Madgwick as well. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Good morning, Tom.
Good morning. Gaynor, we were just talking off air, and it's only now struck me, talking to you in person, that it's a very emotional time.
Yes, it is a very emotional time, and 57 years, obviously, tomorrow. It still doesn't get any easier, you know. It seems a very, very long time, which it is, but those memories just keep on coming back. No one can forget, you know. We certainly can't forget, because obviously, you know, I lost so many friends. I was actually in the Aberfan disaster myself, and seriously injured, spending 3 months in hospital. But also my only brother Carl died that day. He was only 7, and my sister then, Marilyn, she died that day as well. She was 10 years of age. So, you know, for my family as well, and for myself, it's that personal connection, personal tragedy, you know. So I look at it from not only a survivor's point of view, but from a bereaved sibling's point of view as well. So it is very difficult, you know. And the recent passing of my mother, and obviously my dad has passed away now, it makes those triggers even more poignant, because they just keep on coming back, because you reflect on what life my parents and we have had together, and they were always here on the day to support us. You know, Mum would always support us on the day, and they're not here anymore. So it's that emotional turmoil that never ever ends, you know.
And of course,
and like today now, our family have always taken on the tasks of taking the wreaths up the cemetery, you know, placing them ready and under the memorial. So tomorrow morning, then we can lay them, and so we take all them up. They come today. They delivered to my mum's bungalow in the sort of porch area, you know, and they come from even like Grenfell Tower send one now, because we're in connections with them. And then obviously the government, you know, who were liable at the time for the tragedy, they send one, you know. So we take them all up to cemetery, and we place them ready for tomorrow morning. So that in itself is another emotional thing that we have to actually do every year, but we wouldn't want it any other way. You know,
I'm just thinking that some people, most people, they will know about the reminder messages that come around every year, and of course the clock that people see, which is usually the image associated with it. But of course, recently there have been depictions on programs like The Crown, and it's very easy to forget that real life people were impacted, and a lot of people.
Yes, lots of people were impacted, because you've got so many passed away and died that day, you know. 116 children and 28 adults. They were a cousin, they were aunt, they were grandmothers, they were grandfathers. You had those who came to rescue, people from further afield. Everybody was affected because of the enormity. It was only children. Then, you know, most of them were children, and of course it was man-made, you know. It wasn't no accident by any means. I think that made the horror of it even worse, you know. And still today we still haven't had justice. We've had to live with that, you know. Today now the veterans come from HMS Tiger. We've kept in touch with them all these years. They're all in their 80s. They were there on the day. I pick them up now from the train station at 2:00 today. We take them to the hotel. We pick them up in the morning. We take them to the service. They're doing a personal service in the morning to the memorial. And these are 80-odd-year-old veterans that has touched their heart. They come from all parts of the UK, London, Portsmouth, and they still come every year. And also King's Own Border Regiment with them as well.
And for those who may not be aware, of course, the Aberfan disaster, it was a coal slip down the side of the valley that went straight into the school, and you mentioned earlier the injuries and the loss of life there. And I'm going to move over to Terri and see Revlon Girls. How does this link with the anniversary tomorrow, Terri?
Okay, so Revlon is the true story of some of the mothers who met in the aftermath of this disaster. And at one of the meetings, they recognised that they'd forgotten about themselves, but they were afraid of being judged. And one of them contacted Revlon to see if they could send somebody over to one of their meetings to make them feel better about themselves, brighten up their evening, sort of make them feel normal again. And so this tells the story of those bereaved mothers, the anger and the grief, which delivers on so many emotional levels. And even though heartbreaking, it's just such an emotional story. There are some really funny, feisty moments in it that the audience will have the opportunity to laugh as well.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, the ladies that are playing the bereaved mothers are so talented. They bring the characters to life. They bring them to life so much that you forget that you're watching a play. You believe that you are there with these mothers on the stage. It's just an amazing story. A friend of mine went to watch it and she told me about it, and I thought that sounds absolutely something that I really want to share, and I could think of people that I would like to get involved. And so I read the script, and it was beyond what I could have imagined. The writing is just fantastic, and it does a lot for the actors anyway. So that's where we're coming from with this story.
Because it's a small play, isn't it? Your stellar cast is only made up of how many characters?
Yeah, it's 5 women. It's a one-act play. There will be no intermission. It's about 80 minutes long, and 4 of the characters are bereaved mothers. And I can't obviously forget the Revlon girl herself, who also has her own story to tell during the play.
Yeah, and the emotions that must have been felt in that aftermath. Gaynor, going back to you, how old were you when the disaster
I was 8.5. I was one of 6 children. Carl was the only boy, and we were 5 girls. And we lived not far from the actual school. And obviously on the day, we went to school as we normally did. Carl didn't want to go to school that day, and my mother always regretted sending him because obviously he lost his life that day. You know, she had a tremendous guilt. And myself going into the classroom, I sat by the next pupil, and next thing I could hear was this horrendous noise, which is something I wouldn't wish anyone to hear ever. And the school just literally, you could hear a pin dropped. Everyone was glued to their seats because of the tragic noise. I knew something was coming. I knew there was danger. I managed to just get up and put one foot into another to run for the door because I knew something was coming. And this black mass just smashed through the window. It literally took me right up to the back of the classroom, and then I woke up to horror. The classroom roof had come in, the walls had opened, I was smothered in desk chairs, mud, debris. The wall had opened behind me. There was children around me. One little boy had passed away right by the side of me. And even as a child, you know someone who's died. You know, you know death when you're a child.
Yeah.
And a child's arm was hanging through the classroom from the other classroom into mine, where the wall and the debris had pushed the walls open and cracked. And I was holding on to this hand because I knew that child was dead. But because it was my brother's class, afterwards, I gained comfort from that because I always believed that was my brother's hand, you know, and I hold on to that.
Yeah, it's a harrowing story. Like no matter when you hear it and how often you hear it, and hearing from someone that was actually there. This play gives the opportunity for those that might want to learn more about what actually happened and learn about this piece of Welsh history, the opportunity to do that. And of course, you're coming down on opening night as well, and I'm happy to take questions as well. Have you seen the show before?
I haven't seen the show purely because the book that I had published came out at the same time and I couldn't fit in to come and see it. So it is a privilege to come along, and I've had a chat with the cast as well to give them a feeling of exactly what it was like for my family, the emotional turmoil that we went through and still go through, you know, so they could put that into their emotions when they actually act out the play, you know.
We learned so much from that. Thank you, Gaynor. We really did. It put a lot of things into perspective for us.
Yes, thank
and
you.
And your book, Gaynor, just to provide a bit of an overview, what have you provided, and where
The
do the
book
proceeds go?
started because PTSD wasn't around when I was that age, and I suffered emotionally, physically. No one was able to speak about it. We were told to basically be quiet, don't tell anyone. And I started to write a childhood diary, when I was in school, when I went back to school, and I kept that going until I was 16. On the 30th anniversary, I recalled and looked back at the diary, and then wrote up to the 30th anniversary. And what I've done again is an autobiography. I wrote it at 50, on the 50th anniversary, looking back, and it tells the story of everybody that came into my path on my journey. I asked questions to my parents, which I didn't ask before. I wanted closure, and my father then was actually given a year to live. I needed answers, about me. So I spoke to so many people: doctors, psychiatrists, nurses, rescuers, someone who is a Christian, because I believed in God, and that's what got me through it. So I had it published, and it's called A Story of Survival, Love and Community. You can get it on Amazon. It will be on sale that night, actually, at the event. People who pick it up literally they cannot put the book down.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Terri. Back to you very, very quickly. You've got this cast assembled. I know it's going to be an absolute roller coaster, but my knowledge of working in the valleys and having walked through Aberfan in the past, I know that there is going to be some humour, both light and dark humour, because that's how we get through things. So,
Yes.
if you were to encourage people, Terri, to come through, what just in an overview, what can they expect on the evening?
You can expect massive talent from these fabulous women. You can expect to laugh. You can expect to be shocked. You can expect to have a little tear. But I guarantee you'll be talking about this play for days after.
There we go. That's coming to the Boulevard Theatre next week, October 26th to 28th. Get your tickets at visionartswales.com. The Aberfan disaster, is the 21st of October is when it is in remembrance of that. Gaynor, I know that you've got a busy weekend because you're part of laying the wreaths as well. So sending you lots of love and well wishes to the whole community of Aberfan and everyone in Wales that's been affected. And but I can't wait for people to come and see it next week. Thank you so much for joining me on the breakfast show here on Pure West Radio, and looking forward to seeing you soon. Thank you both.
Thank you all. Bless you all. Bye then. Bye.
It's 9:20 here on Pure West Radio. It's Friday.
Feel Good Friday on Pure West Radio. Driveway